Here we go. Happy Wednesday. You're watching the San Francisco 49ers Report, and we're live right here on Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. The leading, largest Niners channel right here on YouTube, and I hope everybody out there is having a fantastic Wednesday. This is what I know. We have a fantastic show in store for you today. The Niners, according to the Seattle Times, have been in touch with safety Jamal Adams. Could he be an addition to this Niners roster in NFL free agency? Speaking of free agency, we're going to take a look at the top free agents left following the 2024 NFL Draft. And with San Francisco adding players via the draft and as UDFAs, it is time for a new Niners 53-man roster projection, and we're going to round out our live show with the mailbag. I want to hear from all of you because there's plenty to talk about. Get those questions in. Get those opinions in. You can share your analysis. This is the most interactive Niners show on the YouTube universe, so we want you to be involved with it. Hashtag 49ers or send in a super chat. First, let's get the comment section going here. Where are you watching from? It wasn't long ago that we were live for 20 hours combined on Thursday, Friday, Saturday for the NFL Draft. We're back in the same studio, same two people. I'm Chase Sr., producer Jake Chipper on the ones and twos, and a lot of the same real ones also in the chat right now. John Wallace, Durham, North Carolina, King Javier, King Towsland, John Wallace, Isabella, Hanging Fish, Joji, Joey Brown, Jeremy Chugg showing me his ass cheeks right now, giving me the full moon. Chris V, I loved your comment a little bit earlier. That's just normal lingo, at least it was for me growing up, but if I say it here on YouTube, I'm going to get canceled. Our Super Chat menu for today. All Super Chats get a shout out. $10. We want to raffle off this Niners bracelet here. It has the Niners colors. It has a Niners little emblem right here. Thanks to a loyal viewer of the show, Tanya's Creations. She sent me an entire package of some bracelets in the lead up to the Super Bowl. I already kept a couple. I want to give some more to the people so that you're looking good. So if you send in a $10 Super Chat, you're in the running for the bracelet. We'll announce the winner at the end of the show if we can get enough Super Chats. $20, you get 10 raffle tickets for this bracelet. Thanks to Tanya's Creations. A $50 Super Chat, I will do 50 push-ups, and a $100 Super Chat, I'll do a shotgun. F it. Let's ride. Get on the show. Be a part of the show. Hashtag 49ers or send in a Super Chat. I told my bosses we would get 100 likes prior to the actual show starting. Can we get to that number? I need everybody watching right now to hit that thumbs up icon or like the video, and if we do that, my bosses won't think that I'm a fraud or that we're all frauds together. Nathan Eds, $2 Super Chat. Debo is gone June 1st. Jamal Adams signs. Ricky Pearsall, Cooper Kupp 2.0. I think the Niners, as I predicted at the end of the Super Bowl, are going to run it back, and this is going to be the last dance. Because then going into 2025, they're going to have to make some really difficult roster decisions. Could they move on from a Debo, a Kyle Juszczyk, a George Kittle? And I think in this draft, we saw them get some potential replacements down the pipe with a lot of players who played a lot of college football. And we'll talk about that here on the show. And then other players who, if they need to redshirt this year, that's fine because their college experience and working on the heels of that will allow them to step into a larger role for the 2025 season. So I don't think that Debo is gone June 1. I think the Niners run it back with this entire collection of talent, but then next offseason, going to be really difficult to keep everybody because Brock Purdy, Brandon Ayuk, they're either going to be paid or going to be in line to get paid. Then you look at other players who have earned contracts. Deomodore Lenoir, Charvarius Ward, Talanoa Hufanga. You're still paying Nick Bosa a lot of money. As for Jamal Adams, we're about to talk about that, so stay tuned. And Pearsall, Cooper Kupp 2.0. It's not just because they're both white dudes. It's because they have similar games. Ricky Pearsall, similar to Cooper Kupp, similar to Adam Thielen. Brian Baldinger saying he's a faster and bigger Julian Edelman. Now, they're all white dudes, again, but they do have similar games. Exactly. The R word. Call me the R word. Whatever. It's crazy out here. Sam. Oh, okay. I thought the monitor gave out. I got scared. If you're ready to talk some Niners, I need you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Call you Trace. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. $10 super chat. You get a raffle ticket for the Niners bracelet here. Thanks to Tanya's Creations. You send in a $20 super chat. You get 10 tickets to win this bracelet, and we'll get it sent to you. We need 100 likes on this stream, so continue to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Risa Commenter Club, King Javier, Ignist, Mamba Legend, Kevin Mills, John Wallace, Bijarn watching from Germany, Briscoe, Gina G, the dreaded one, Dustin Manifesto. I love y'all. We appreciate you for watching the show. Joji Chase, you're famous in Japan. They call me Worldwide Senior. Worldwide Chip. We have a worldwide program here. And with that, let's start the official live show. 4 segments coming your way. Let's rock. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're getting closer and closer to the weekend. Don't you worry. But for now, we have a great 49ers report on tap. According to the Seattle Times and their writer, Seahawks insider Bob Condata, the 49ers have been in touch with free agent safety Jamal Adams. Let's discuss it here because I think this is interesting on so many fronts. Bob Condata saying this in the Seattle Times, that a reunion with Seattle and Jamal Adams is completely possible, but sources said the San Francisco 49ers are one of a handful of teams who have kept in touch with Adams, so the Seahawks could have some competition for the former All-Pro safety, who is still just 28 years old. Any contract for Adams would obviously be nowhere near as costly as his previous deal, a 4-year pact signed in August of 2021 that was due to pay him up to $72 million. It's pretty wild when you think about Jamal Adams right now only being 28 years old. It feels as though he's been in the league a lot longer and he's been so injured, so he feels a lot older. And honestly, I'm staying far away from Jamal Adams because I think at this point, he's completely cooked. And revisionist history, let's look back at it. The Jamal Adams trade, one of the worst trades in the history of the NFL. That is not a hyperbolic statement. Seattle sent 2 first-round picks to the Jets for him and then gave him that lofty contract extension that we just talked about here. And Adams' play throughout his tenure with the Seahawks never came close to that value of 2 first-rounders and then the money on that contract. Injuries, poor play, inconsistent play, a lot of bad penalties, him not being available, really defined his Seahawks tenure. And as a safety, we saw last year when Debo cooked him. We've seen time and time again how poorly he plays in coverage. He looks like a player on tape at the safety spot who is completely washed. But would the Niners have plans for him to play a different position? A position in which he doesn't have to have the same speed or the same range as he was required to have at the safety position. Could Adams be converted into a hybrid linebacker and primarily and only play in the box where his physicality could give this defense a little bit of an edge? That is the only way that Jamal Adams to the San Francisco 49ers makes any semblance of sense. The physicality and the thump that he brings, that's cool. It's fun to watch. He can lay the boom. But at the safety position, in today's NFL, you got to do more, and you have to be able to cover. And Adams hasn't been able to hold up in coverage. And speaking of the injuries, once again, injured in 2023. Only 9 games played. 48 tackles, 7 TFLs, 2 pass breakups, no interceptions. His coverage numbers, not good at all. When I say that he can't hold up in coverage, I'm not kidding. He allowed a completion rate of 82.4%. 292 yards in those 9 games. 2 touchdowns is what he surrendered. The 2 pass breakups and the 2 interceptions. and surrendered a quarterback rating of 122.1. The lack of availability, the lack of production, the lack of coverage ability have been massive issues, and that's why this trade just a catastrophic disaster for the Seattle Seahawks, which, if you're an Niner fan, it's beautiful to see because F Seattle always. The game's played year by year over the last 4 campaigns. 12, 12, 1, 9. When you're paying a player that much money and the results are what they've been, and then the lack of production is what it is, I'm surprised even that Seattle is thinking about a reunion with Jamal Adams. But what does the faithful think? Should San Francisco give it a go? Should they sign him as a depth piece? Should they sign him as a hybrid linebacker given the uncertainty around Dre Greenlaw? Type S for signed or W for washed right now down in the comment section. Ricky Pearsall, the pick at number 31 overall, was certainly a shock for me, just like giving up 2 first-rounders for Jamal Adams was a shock. I've warmed up to the selection, though. And the more I think about it, it's a luxury pick for San Francisco. Did they need to go that route? No. But the way that he fits in alongside Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk is pretty intriguing to me. If he has to replace one this year, then I have an issue with it. If you like the pick, you want a Ricky Pearsall jersey, he is going to wear number 14, by the way. They're available right now. All you have to do, use that link down below, chatsports.com/Pearsall. Sticking with the safety position for San Francisco here. I think they're in a pretty good spot, and we'll certainly see what the fringes of the roster look like. We'll see how Talanoa Hufanga is able to come back off that torn ACL. We know what type of player he's capable of being. Shoot, in his sophomore campaign in 2022, he was a first-team All-Pro. At times, Talanoa Hufanga can struggle in coverage. He's a little bit of a liability there. That's why the Niners try to hide him at moments, and they utilize him around the box, hybrid linebacker, coming off the edge on some blitzes. But he just has a knack for making plays, and his instincts are tremendous at the safety spot. But Talanoa Hufanga, coming off a serious injury and in a contract year, if he is healthy, I'd be surprised if he doesn't start along Jair Brown. Now, Jair Brown, I think, is a little bit stronger as far as his well-rounded game because I think that he's a little bit better in coverage. I thought that was the case when he played at Penn State compared to Hufanga at USC. And last year, we saw that Brown has a similar game to Hufanga, but I think he has better range and better instincts as a deep safety. And then elsewhere, you brought back George Odom, solid backup, one of the better special teams players in the National Football League. And then you drafted Malik Mustafa, who I think a lot of Niner fans are going to grow to really, really like for a multitude of reasons. And this is why bringing in Jamal Adams at safety doesn't really make a lot of sense because I think this Niners roster is in a pretty good position here. Mustafa grew up a Niners fan his entire life. He plays downhill with tenacity, fire, and physicality. He can line up anywhere on the field for this Niners defense. Some can make the argument he's the best tackling safety in this class. He has good center field range against the pass. I think that he can play special teams right away if he's not a coverage safety from the jump and has a stacked and yoked frame. He's a little bit tiny when you just look at the height and weight, but if you actually look at him and you see the burst and the athleticism, he's kind of a freak. He's also a very smart and heady player, and I think because of that, combined with the experience that he put together at Wake Forest, he could be relied upon to see some snaps as a rookie. Make sure you give me a follow on X, give me a follow on Instagram, let me know what you thought about today's show. Or I put out a bunch of short-form content on my social media pages as well. It's all blowing up. I've reached 1.2 million accounts over the last month on IG. Same on X, formerly known as Twitter. Give me a follow at Chase_Senior. One segment down. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Joe G said pass on Adams. Too much mileage on those legs. On that entire body, too. Sixplicit. Mama Legend, Allen, Steve, all said washed. Zoomin, though, said sign him. Hanging fish. I feel like Brown needs experience. He kind of got exposed in the Super Bowl. He had an interception to Patrick Mahomes. He stepped in for Talanoa Hufanga after the injury as a rookie and played pretty damn good. What's the French toast? $2 super chat here. No on Adams. Malik is young and talented. Give him reps. And that's one of the reasons why I get excited about the NFL draft. Because after the draft, OTAs are going to come up. Rookie minicamp is soon on the horizon. And we can actually start to see what these players can look like. So no on Adams. Malik is young and talented. Give him the reps. And the Niners are probably going to figure out, okay, let's get these players in here. Rookie minicamp, OTAs. Let's see what they're capable of doing. And then from there, maybe they look to address some depth positions and some overall positions in NFL free agency. Segment number 1, down. 3 more segments left to go. Our final segment will be a mailbag here. So start to get your questions in. Use the hashtag 49ers or send in a super chat. If we get enough super chats on the show today, willing to do a giveaway. Thanks to our loyal viewer, Tanya's Creations. Going to give away this Niners bracelet here. $10 gets you a raffle ticket. $20 gets you 10 raffle tickets if you want to be a part of that. Segment number 2. Top free agents left following the NFL draft. Zeke is back to 15. Trey Lance is wearing 19. What an ugly number. Because he was 15, right? 19 for a quarterback. And that's what Trey Lance is going to wear. In case you didn't hear Chip, because Zeke is going back to 15. The number 19 for a quarterback is just a disgusting number. A disgusting number. Sorry, I'm trying to get my monitor working here. Somehow it just went away.
Gotta love it.
There we go. We're back.
We're back, baby.
We're back. Show them the Super Chat menu one more time, and then we'll get to segment number 2. Niners bracelet is our giveaway today. If you want it, all Super Chats get a shout out. $10, you enter the raffle. $20, you get 10 raffle tickets. $50, I'll do 50 push-ups. And $100 for a shotgun. You send in 50, and we'll give you, let's call it 20 raffle tickets. 20 raffle tickets. All right, segment number 2 coming up right now on the San Francisco 49ers Report. Our goal, 100 likes for this stream. So continue to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Coming up on today's San Francisco 49ers Report, in the aftermath of the 2024 NFL Draft, some quality players still available in NFL free agency. And after a little bit of a lull period, we could start to see some of these players sign with teams because they do not count against the compensatory pick formula. Niners free agency. Right now, San Francisco equipped with $6.3 million in cap space per over the cap. But San Francisco is going to get $18 million in cap space for the 2024 season on June 1st. All because of the Eric Armstead release. And with the rules of the NFL, when you release a player like that, the NFL doesn't award you with all that money. So they make you wait a little bit. And they're going to give San Francisco that money on June 1 as part of that Eric Armstead release to save a little bit of coin. Now, San Francisco can use that money toward a Brandon Ayuk contract extension or other contract extensions for the existing players on their roster, but they could use that money for some internal players who we're going to talk about here today. And as we know, San Francisco adding 8 players in the 2024 NFL Draft, including a handful of undrafted free agents. If you've been living under a rock and you've been hibernating and you're still depressed and sad after that Niners Super Bowl loss, here are the Niners draftees. Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver out of Florida, round 1, 31st overall. Renardo Green, round 2, 64 overall, the cornerback out of Florida State. Dominic Pooney, offensive guard, offensive tackle hybrid, round 3, 86th overall pick. Malik Mustafa, safety out of Wake Forest, round 4, 124. Isaac Guerendo, Niners traded up for him, round 4, 129, running back out of Louisville. Back to the wide receiver well with Jacob Cowing, round 4, 135 overall, the wide receiver out of Arizona. Jarrett Kingston, another interior offensive lineman who, like Dominic Pooney, played tackle last year, did not give up a sack, both of those players. Round 6, 215. And then Tatum Bethune, round 7, 251, hard-hitting linebacker out of Florida State. That gives you an indication what the Niners addressed positionally during the draft, and also gives you an indication of what they could still address coming up here on today's show in NFL free agency. With that, this is today's poll question. What say you? The biggest remaining need for the Niners is what? Did not draft a defensive lineman. I'd say that. Secondary, still a little bit of an issue. Backup tight end, huge problem behind George Kittle in my estimation. Show me that you like ball and that you know ball, and you know this roster by getting down in the comment section right now. A good crop of free agents do still remain here on the free agency market. Justin Simmons, a 4-time All-Pro player, leads the NFL in interceptions since entering the league in 2016 with 30. Stephon Gilmore last year, after the injury to Trayvon Diggs, I thought stepped in and played really good football on the outside at the cornerback position for the Dallas Cowboys. Quandre Diggs is a player who was let go for financial reasons by Seattle, but I think that he has some gas left in the tank. Xavier Howard played solid ball last year for the Miami Dolphins under Vic Fangio. He could give you some outside cornerback help. And then Calais Campbell, not much of a scheme fit here for San Francisco, but massive size at 6'8", can play the end, can play defensive tackle, still pretty productive too this late in his NFL career. Of that grouping right there, I would say that Justin Simmons would be my favorite free agent target. And the Niners obviously have inquired about safeties all throughout this offseason. They did address that position in the NFL draft with Malik Mustafa. He's an unknown. Justin Simmons is a known commodity. And even though he's on the wrong side of 30, he's still playing at an extraordinary high level. And the Niners have checked in specifically with Justin Simmons. So that would be a free agency acquisition for the Niners that would certainly move the needle and help this football team in this Super Bowl window. The next wave of available free agents. And some people have mentioned Robert Tonyan as a backup tight end. He could also be an option amidst this list as well. Adoree Jackson, slot corner with return ability. Jamal Adams, the Niners, according to the Seattle Times, have kept in touch with him throughout the offseason here. Steven Nelson, really solid cornerback who has played good football over the last couple of years. Odell Beckham Jr. still looking for a home. There were some reports that maybe he was going to sign with the Miami Dolphins. That never came to fruition. And then Micah Hyde at the safety spot as well. Couple of really solid safeties, accomplished safeties, or safeties with a lot of name value who are still in the free agency market. And I like the selection of Renardo Green for San Francisco in the second round of the draft. Little bit of a reach, just like Ricky Pearsall, but what did the Niners accomplish in the draft? They drafted a lot of players with a lot of experience, and Renardo Green is a player who was accomplished and experienced at Florida State. Really good ball skills, led the ACC in pass breakups last year, is very tough and physical, loves to play man press. He could play inside, outside, and could play a little bit of safety. So when you go into OTAs, when you go into rookie minicamp, you want to be able to gauge, okay, can he play right away? Can he contribute as a rookie here, inside or outside, for a Niner secondary that does have some question marks? If he can't, then that's when the Niners might look the free agency route because you can't spoil these Super Bowl aspirations here. One thing this Niners draft class has is what I just briefly mentioned. That is experience. And when you look at all of the players who San Francisco added in the NFL draft, there is one consistent theme. They have played a lot of football. I broke this down on my X page at Chase_Senior. Give me a follow there, formerly known as Twitter. A vast amount of experience for this 2024 draft class for San Francisco. The 8 players taken played in a combined 402 games in college with 261 starts. What I think that does, it gives San Francisco flexibility, immediate depth, with the possibility of their rookies having roles this year, or if they have to redshirt this year, they'll be ready to go in 2025. Ricky Pearsall, 5-year senior, 55 games, 34 starts. Renardo Green, 52 games, 32 starts, 5-year college player. Dominic Pooney, 47 games, 43 starts, 6-year college player. Malik Mustafa, 39 games, 24 starts, 4-year college player. Isaac Garendo, 41 games, 1 start. That's the player who is somewhat inexperienced, but he still played 41 games. He's a 6-year college player. Jacob Cowing, 58 games, 52 starts, 5-year college player. Jarrett Kingston, 49 games, 37 starts, 6-year college player. And then you have Tatum Bethune, 61 games, 38 starts, 5-year college player. So this gives you a lot of roster flexibility for San Francisco going into this year. But then you look at that crop of players, they could be the future replacements of Adebo Samuel, Jawan Jennings, Deomodore Lenoir, Ambry Thomas, Aaron Banks, Talanoa Hufanga, because they all play those positions, and some of them have similar traits. Please make sure you subscribe to the show for daily and year-round coverage of the Niners. And we are approaching already 133,000 subscribers. And if the Niners make a move in free agency, signing one of these players or somebody else, we're going to talk about it right here on the 49ers Report. Our show today is sponsored by Prize Picks, the best daily fantasy sports app in the game, and it's daily fantasy sports made easy. You pick 2 or more players, you choose more or less on their projected stats, and you can win up to 25 times your money. Some of the future selections that we like, Christian McCaffrey's already been putting in work in the lab, looking very, very in shape for the upcoming 2024 season after he led the NFL with touches and all-purpose yards and was the NFL Offensive Player of the Year. Let's go more than 1,150.5 rushing yards. Michael Pittman Jr., more than 1,050.5 receiving yards. And then Derrick Henry, more than 10.5 rushing touchdowns this campaign. Win big money, withdraw your winnings, pick more, pick less, pick Prize Picks. And again, you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, $100 deposit match right there. Continue to move forward with our top free agent targets. San Francisco, earlier in the free agency period, did show some interest in Tyler Boyd, who surprisingly is still out there as a very productive player, who's been a good player for the Cincinnati Bengals for a long time. After San Francisco, though, drafted Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing, I can't see them going with another wide receiver. A lot of you want us to talk about some offensive linemen, a few here on your page. Connor Williams, coming off a knee injury. Donovan Smith, I don't think that he can really play. Michael Thomas, so many injury issues over the last several years. Just another wide receiver there. And then Dalton Reisner is a player who has been available. He has been productive. And he's had a pretty accomplished NFL career. And let's give credit where credit is due to the San Francisco 49ers organization, the scouting department, and this front office. We were asking for them to improve the offensive line. They did address the offensive line in taking 2 players, Dominic Pooney and Jarrett Kingston, who played tackle last year, did not give up a sack last year, and have positional versatility to probably play inside, but can also play outside in a pinch if they need to. Unfortunately, though, I was dumbfounded by this. For the second consecutive draft, San Francisco did not bring in any competition for Colton McKivitz at right tackle. So Colton McKivitz, who gave up 11 sacks last year, still on this roster and doesn't have anybody competing with him. I think that's a little bit of an issue, which brings us up to a player like David Bakhtiari, all-pro level player. He used that to get a lofty contract extension with the Green Bay Packers, protecting Aaron Rodgers. Him and Aaron Rodgers, the bestest of friends. Besties, as some people like to say it. But since he landed that big contract extension, he has not been able to stay healthy. And for that reason, he might have the ability, he might have the track record of success, but over the last multiple seasons, he also has a track record of being injured a lot. Ryan Tannehill, I think San Francisco pretty good at the quarterback spot. Josh Dobbs, Brandon Allen, Tanner Mordecai is an undrafted free agent, but if one of your backups either doesn't play well or he gets injured, when I look into Ryan Tannehill, of course, he's played a lot, and you can win games with the run-centric offense. Andres Pete is a player who can play tackle, can play guard. He's had some solid stretches of play for the New Orleans Saints. Zach Cunningham was signed late by the Philadelphia Eagles last year, led all linebackers and tackles on that team. He can still play at least a little bit. And then Deshaun Gibson. I would not rule out a Deshaun Gibson return. He's kind of been year to year over the last 2 years while playing with the San Francisco 49ers, and he's played really good football, a solid backup safety at this point, who last year was a starting safety for this team because he gave this team very, very good snaps. San Francisco, in totality, still has a top-tier roster, and following the NFL draft, I was putting together a 53-man roster projection. My goodness, what a difficult roster to put together, especially at linebacker, corner, and just overall defensively, because at linebacker, corner specifically, a lot of players who are going to be competing for spots in San Francisco, I thought did a good job of stacking up some depth there. And then you have these UDFAs who are also going to try to make this team as well. Evan Anderson, he got practice squad money, $280,000 from the Niners. 30 grand just to sign. Tariq Owens, the son of Terrell Owens. Cody Schrader, highly productive player last year from Mizzou, from D2 to walk-on to a star in the SEC. Jalen Mahoney, safety out of Vanderbilt, has a little positional versatility. Ryasan Mays, center out of Southern Miss, a little bit lighter, uphill battle to make the roster. Tanner Mordecai has a pretty strong arm, some giddy up with the legs. Drake Nugent, I think, can make the Niners roster. Started every game last year for the national champion winning Michigan Wolverines and was a very productive center who did not have a lot of losses on tape. And then Mason Pline, tight end Furman, backup tight end, an issue for this team for sure. So which free agent do you want the Niners to sign? Just a top 20 list right there with some notable free agents who San Francisco could add to this roster now, sometime in the foreseeable future, or a little bit down the road. Gump Wolf, our first $10 super chat of the show. We're going to give him some raffle tickets right there. Hi, Faithful, Chase, and Chip. Thank you for all of the draft coverage. Thank you for tuning in. And the Joe Montana jersey, my man, it's on its way this week.
Ooh!
Here's our super chat menu. All super chats get a shout out. $10 gets you in the running for the bracelet raffle. $20, you get 10 bracelet raffle tickets. Tanya's Creations loves the show and sent us this. $50, 50 push-ups, and then a $100 super chat. We'll do a little shotgun. That's our super chat menu on this wacky Wednesday. We are 2 segments down, and we have 2 segments left to get to.
Second segment we're going to do a mailbag, so get those questions in. Let's see. I'm only seeing 2 questions so far, people. Let's go. We got one more segment, then we're doing our mailbag. Shout out to King Javier and Mamba Legend getting their questions in.
If we don't get enough questions, we won't be able to do the mailbag.
We want to chop it up with y'all. We want to answer y'all's questions, but ask about some players the Niners just drafted, players in the roster, who's going to make the roster, free agents, anything you could think of. You're telling me you got nothing that you're thinking about? I know you are, because I see people asking questions in the comments, not using hashtag 49ers.
Bang, bang, Niner gang.
Let's go. Who's gonna challenge Gumpel for this bracelet, huh? First one in the running. And the only one.
Yeah, who's challenging Gump? Who's challenging Gump? Mr. Mind Mine. Use hashtag 49ers. That's a great question for our mailbag. What's the deal with upgrading the right tackle spot? No upgrades. Colton McKivitz, baby. Some people are saying Spencer Burford should play out there. To me, he hasn't been able to show that he can play guard. Nick Dofer! $24 super chat. Let's go. Nick. Would love to see the Niners pick up some free agent offensive linemen to compete, but also love the addition of Justin Simmons Bang, bang, Niner gang. Justin Simmons would be incredible. And the offensive linemen, thin pickings, as we just talked about. Just not a lot of competition out there. That's why I would have tried to have traded up for Roger Rosengarten in round 2. Or taken a player like Karan Amagaji out of Yale. Or taken Kingsley Suamataia. Again, with the way that the board fell, going offensive tackle first round didn't make a lot of sense. But in the second round, there was value there. Niners traded up for a running back, Isaac Guerendo. Why can't you trade up for a right tackle? All right. Niners 53-man roster projection. Coming up next here on the show. Continue to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Our goal for the stream, get to 100 likes. We're at 80 right now. So support us and hit that thumbs up icon if you haven't done so already. Here we go. Welcome into the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. And as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. So many great content creators and broadcasters out there covering the Niners on YouTube. That's why we're always so appreciative that you come and hang out with us. Coming up, following the NFL draft, a new Niners 53-man roster projection. There are some difficult cuts that we're going to have to make here on the show. First, if you think the Niners still have an elite roster, I know people are still sad about the Super Bowl. It's a difficult one to get over. I feel you. But this is a really good team that has a chance to make noise and get back to the Super Bowl during the 2024 campaign. So if you think this team is still elite, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. If not, I want you to comment why and share your thoughts behind that. Niners roster projection. We begin at the quarterback position. Brock Purdy, of course, going to make this team entering a big 2024. And if he plays like he did in 2023, he's going to break the bank, especially for him, considering he's made less than $1 million in his first 2 years in the National Football League. And now, since he's been playing well, setting himself up for a bag. But a lot of the advertisements are coming his way. Getting a lot of endorsements. Good for him. Backup quarterback. I think it's going to be Josh Dobbs beating out Brandon Allen. The Niners gave Dobbs some pretty good guaranteed money, and I thought it was a smart move. Sam Darnold got $10 million from the Minnesota Vikings. You were paying Josh Dobbs a fraction of that, less than $3 million in guaranteed money, and he's shown that in a pinch, he can step up, he can play well. Aerospace engineering major at Tennessee, very smart. He can master the playbook in a quick amount of time, has some good mobility. And then Brandon Allen, who's back on a 1-year deal, very well respected inside that quarterback room. The Niners kept 3 quarterbacks on their opening 53-man roster last year. I think that holds firm going into 2024. The running back position. It has become very, very interesting here. After the drafting of Isaac Guerendo, you picked up Cody Schrader as the UDFA. Last year, the Niners had 4 or 5 running backs on the opening 53. This is also a unique roster construction because you have a fullback in the mix too. And because the Niners are deeper elsewhere, we have to make some difficult decisions. So, Christian McCaffrey, Isaac Guerendo, Jordan Mason, Kyle Juszczyk. They make the team here. And by the way, those numbers toward the right side of your screen, identifying the 53 men that are going to be a part of this roster. And we're going to have a surprise cut. Elijah Mitchell, he's going to get cut. Productive player, has a lot of talent, but he's been injured every year that he's been in the NFL very consistently. And I think that the injuries have worn on him a little bit, where last year he didn't have the same quickness. And this wide receiver room, cornerback room, defensively, this entire roster in its entirety is stacked to the point where you have to cut some players who are going to be able to latch on with other teams. Because speaking of the wide receiver room, let's take a look at it here. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, Jacob Cowing, they make the team. Because Ayuk, Deebo, Jennings, your top 3 wide receivers, we know what they can bring to the field. They're excellent players. You drafted Ricky Pearsall, 31st overall. Would be a disaster, obviously, if he didn't make this team. It's completely unrealistic that he gets cut. You took Jacob Cowing in the 4th round. This is a player who's 5'8", 5'9", 4.3 40-yard dash, and consistently wins out of the slot. A great gadget wide receiver for Kyle Shanahan to use. And then Ronnie Bell, he played well in the preseason last year. I think he has some upside. He has some return experience, although he didn't fare well in those reps a year ago. And then I'm keeping Chris Conley because he's one of the only players on this list who's going to be able to give you consistent coverage special team snaps. So I'm going with 7 wide receivers total here. And the notable cuts, Danny Gray, he hasn't shown me anything yet other than being able to run fast. Trent Taylor, he's strictly a punt returner. You're not going to really use him as a wide receiver within this offense. And so you keep an extra wide receiver and you cut Elijah Mitchell. Now to the tight end spot. You can certainly make the debate that you only keep 3 here. Cam Latu has shown me nothing. Has to be able to prove that he can catch the football and stay healthy. Braden Willis is a little bit shorter, maybe more of an H-back. Mason Pline is a UDFA who the Niners have been high on. A little bit of a surprise here. I have him making this team. Really outside of George Kittle, we don't know. The backup tight end spot simply is not good enough at this juncture of the offseason, with plenty of time to fulfill that. And because of that, I would not rule out a free agent addition at some point, like a Robert Tonyan, or a trade, because you need to get a better backup tight end behind George Kittle after you lost Ross Dwelly and Charlie Warner, and you try to take away Brock Wright from the Lions, but they match the offer sheet. Now let's pivot to the offensive line. Your starters, most likely, Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, John Feliciano, and Colton McKivitz. Some people are making the argument here that John Feliciano should start at center. Dominic Punick, who you took out of Kansas, should start at right guard. And then you could either go Colton McKivitz or Spencer Burford at right tackle. Here's my issue with trying out Burford at right tackle. He hasn't even shown to me that he can play guard at the NFL level. And when he did fill in last preseason, I believe, at the tackle spot, he really struggled. So the offensive line, still a question mark on that center to right side. The backups here that I have making the team, Jalen Moore, he's the backup to Trent Williams. Dominic Puni, he can play multiple positions along the offensive line, played tackle at Kansas, but shorter arms and wingspan, might slot to be an inside offensive lineman. Drake Nugent is a UDFA who, the more I study him, the more I like him. 15 starts, first team all Big Ten member last year from Michigan, a team that won the national championship. Not a lot of losses on tape. Very comfortable getting out in space and is athletic. You took Jarrett Kingston, who I think has some upside, very experienced at the college level, and then Spencer Burford, the last offensive lineman to make the team. The surprise cuts here, Nick Zakelj and Ben Bartch. You drafted Nick Zakelj. He could play center. He could play guard. Ben Bartch, some people in the organization are high on him, but you also addressed the interior offensive line in the NFL draft this year. You could use some practice squad spots on some of these players here down below me, or some of the players that I have making the squad. Don't forget to subscribe to us here on the San Francisco 49ers Report for year-round and daily coverage on this team. We're approaching 133,000 subscribers, so lock us in and don't miss our content. Ricky Pearsall jerseys. They are available right now thanks to our friends at Fanatics. He is going to wear the number 14 as a Rook. You can find them at chatsports.com/Pearsall. That link is available down in the show notes. It's in the comment section of this video, attached to the pinned comment, and on the community tab here on the YouTube channel. Offensive side of the football is down. Now we go to the defensive side. Going to be some good competitions here along the defensive line. Starters across the board, Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, Malik Collins, and Leonard Floyd. Yetur Gross-Matos, the new Arden Key, and Charles Omenihu, who's going to be able to play defensive tackle, defensive end, kind of in that Cleveland Furrow role as well. The backups, Kevin Givens. Niners brought him back. They're a little bit thin at defensive tackle. Jordan Elliott, a good depth piece, comes over in free agency from the Cleveland Browns. Drake Jackson, you got to show something to me. And then the Niners activated Robert Beal Jr. a little bit later in the year. We go with 9 total defensive linemen to make the team. On the hot seat, Drake Jackson. The Niners are no longer tied to him being a second-round pick. This is year 3. He's still a young player. He's flashed, has a lot of ability. It's time to be consistent and stay healthy. If you don't, he could be a surprise cut. So too could Kalia Davis, who has shown minimal flashes of ability, but has also been injured going back to when he tore his ACL his final year at UCF. Linebacker position. Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, shoo-ins to make this team. If Dre Greenlaw starts the year on PUP, the Niners could go 4 linebackers here realistically. And then if an injury happens, you elevate somebody from the practice squad. But Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, I think Devondre Campbell going to make this team as well. A veteran who, as recently as 2021, was a first-team All-Pro. And we're in a sticky spot here with D. Winters and Jalen Graham. They played good ball in the preseason last year. They're young developmental linebackers who are fast and quick from sideline to sideline. And I like what the outlook is for their futures. So you practice squad Tatum Bethune, who you took in the 7th round out of Florida State, and then the surprise cut, a good special teamer, but is a little bit of a liability as a coverage linebacker, Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. Ezekiel Turner, also a surprise cut. The Niners have really liked what they've seen from him when he played for the Arizona Cardinals as a special teamer, spot linebacker duty, a very good special teams player who could easily make this team. This is where I started to have a very, very difficult time. And it's not like the Niners have a bunch of top shelf talent at the cornerback spot, but they put an emphasis on adding a lot of depth to this position this offseason. I'm going with 4 corners to make this team as of right now. Charvarius Ward, Deomodore Lenoir, Renardo Green, your second-round pick, and then Isaac Yiadom, who analytically was a very solid corner in coverage last year after he had to fill in for Marshawn Lattimore. But there are other Niners who you're going to have to make very, very difficult decisions on, especially with players who you have drafted very, very recently. Ambry Thomas, a 3rd-round pick back in 2021. Chase Lucas, good special teams player from the Detroit Lions. Rock Ya-Sin, injuries have kept him back from being a consistent contributor, but he was a 2nd-round pick. Samuel Womack, Darrell Luter Jr., those are players that you drafted in the last couple of years who also have some ability. But do you side with more known commodities in an Isaac Yiadom? And do you cut bait with some of those younger players knowing that you're kind of deep as far as depth goes at that cornerback spot, and they're going to be able to latch on with other teams? And then you have safeties. Talanoa Hufanga, Jair Brown, Malik Mustafa, and George Odom. The Niners are not going to cut a player like George Odom because they just gave him a nice little contract with some money attached to it because he's one of the better special teams aces in the NFL. Hufanga and Jair Brown are the 2 best safeties on your team, and then you drafted Malik Mustafa as a player who has a lot of ability as well. So 4 safeties here, that too, a difficult position to try to choose from when you pair that with the cornerback spot because you need 3 open roster spots for your specialists. Tabor Pepper, Mitch Wishnowsky, and Jake Moody. Pepper the long snapper, Wishnowsky the punter, Jake Moody the kicker. And as far as returners go, I'm curious to see what the Niners do on that front. Like, I don't think that Trent Taylor is good enough when you compare him to a Ricky Pearsall who has a lot of wiggle. But at that kick returner spot, who takes the place of Ray McLeod there and as punt returner? Going to be a good camp battle as well. Grade the Niners roster, Madden scale, 1 to 100, top to bottom, 1 being awful, 100 being the best in the league. Let me know. Couple of super chats to get to during that segment. Niner Dad, catching you on my lunch. Who's your favorite addition to the team? I like Renardo Green's game a lot. I was surprised at the reach there, but I like how he plays. Let me give you this. Drake Nugent, early take, could unseat Jake Brendel as the starting center for this football team. UDFA out of Michigan. That could be a surprise. And then David Marcella. a $20 super chat. And Nathan Eds. Nathan Eds, who's your favorite all-time practice squad player? Oh, man, that's a good question. Favorite all-time practice squad player?
Because, I mean, are you saying like a guy who never made the active roster? Or are you
How about
saying, like,
Alfredo Gutierrez as part of the International Pathway Program? Alfredo Gutierrez. Let's go with him. From the country of Mexico. And then David Marcella, $20. LFG Challenge accepted. F. Trizzy, Chase, and Jake. You've been killing it. Keep up the great work this past weekend. My man. Thank you for that.
Yes,
Marcella,
sir.
do you want us to put you in the running to win this Niners bracelet here? Because $20 just got you 10 raffle tickets. We're up to $65 in super chats. We'll give this away if we get to $100 in total super chats. How about that? We're basically at 65. So we're $35 away from that number. $10 gets you one raffle ticket. 20 gets you 10. Let's do it. Logan Samuel Womack can at least play special teams. Nathan Ed, someone who turned out to be a great starter. Raheem Mostert? That's a pretty good one. Which one? Yeah, sure. Got to keep more than 4 corners. That's just a bit risky. I know, man. But keep in mind that Hufanga, Jair Brown, they play a little bit in the box. The Niners only kept 5 last year. So do you take away a tight end? Do you take away a linebacker? And then in turn, do you add 2 more spots to the secondary? You could do that. You could do that. All too early 53-man roster projection.
Last chance to get your questions in for the mailbag. We got a decent amount, but it's your last chance if you want to get it in. We got Joji, Nick Dolfer, Logan, Leon Sandcastle, legendary name.
Oh! Nick Dolfer! Let's go, Nick! Chase, you do 25 push-ups and chip or chug a beer. Cheers. Put my daughter down for the bracelet. All right, we'll do that. We'll put your name on there, but if you win it, we'll obviously send it to you and you can give it to your daughter. Nathan Ed's favorite college team. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and so I grew up watching the Joe Paterno Penn State teams. Now I'm more of just an overall college football fan. Like, the NFL draft got done on Saturday, and I'm on my rooftop smoking a cigar, looking at the skyline, and I'm like, I already can't wait for college football to start scouting the new wave of prospects. And I already can't wait for the upcoming NFL season because you got that adrenaline rush of football being back because there was a lot of hype. David Corona, what's good, brother? So we're to $100 in super chats. And we will raffle off the bracelet. Do we have enough questions? We're good on questions. Mailbag coming up to round things out. Niner Dad, take care, bro. We'll send you the draft giveaways this week. Richard Deere said West Virginia, favorite college team. I'm going to West Virginia next week, actually. Well, not quite. Deep Creek, Maryland, but almost West Virginia. Hawaii from Paid Ace. Interesting. Shout out to Colt Brennan, RIP.
You know who I'm rocking with. Go Clemson Tigers, baby. Let's go.
Edward Willis. What's up, my brothers? Do you think they will pick up Adams? I said no earlier when I talked about it. We'll talk about it more in the upcoming mailbag. I just think he's so washed as a safety. And if they convert him to linebacker, maybe, but that's a completely different position. He's just been so injured, so banged up, and because of that, the body isn't the same. Just Jeff, Cody Schrader, coming to spot rest McCaffrey and steamroll defensive lines across the league in 2024. He runs like every carry is his last. Leon Sandcastle in his draft bag. 2025 guy to watch. Corday Sidner, 6'5", 265, 4'4", 740. Sheesh. Logan, I would say this is Drake Jackson's last opportunity, yes. All right, let's take your mailbag questions. If you want to get involved and featured, hashtag 49ers or send in a super chat. And let's take your questions right now. We're going to open up the floor and take all of your questions on today's San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Thank you so much for hanging out here with us. Hope everybody out there is having a fantastic and fun-filled weekend. Let's take your questions here on the show and begin with our guy Nathan Eds, who predicts that Deebo Samuel is going to be gone June 1st and that Jamal Adams signs with the San Francisco 49ers in free agency, and that Ricky Pearsall reminds him of Cooper Kupp. So in talking about Deebo Samuel here, I think he returns for 2024. That's been my prediction all along, that the Niners run it back with a little bit of a last dance type of feel to try to go all in with this collection of talent to win a Super Bowl this upcoming season. Now, if you cut Deebo Samuel post June 1, $11.3 million in dead money, and then you save $17.2 million. If you traded Deebo Samuel post June 1, $6.5 million in dead money, $22 million in cap savings. The Niners stopped taking calls on day 2 of the draft on Deebo. Prior to that, according to some chatter, they were taking calls on Deebo, but never came close to trading him. But if you're trying to save money and you think about a post-June 1 trade, if you wanted to go that route, those are the financial implications. As for Jamal Adams, I'm going to say no. If you convert him to linebacker, maybe. But I'd still say no ultimately. Been injured too much, body banged up, physically not the same player, always injured. And with Seattle, goes down as one of the worst trades, one of the worst acquisitions, and one of the worst contract extensions in recent memory, and as far as the trade goes of all time. And Ricky Pearsall, Cooper Kupp 2.0. I see a little Cooper Kupp, Adam Thielen. Brian Baldinger said a bigger and stronger and faster Julian Edelman. That's not a bad comp. You could also throw a little bit of Tyler Lockett in there, operating out of the slot, although he's definitely taller than Tyler Lockett and could go up and get it a little bit. But with the footwork and route running and getting crafty with the shoulder fakes and the head movement to fake out defenders coming out of his break, those are some receiver comps right there. Not all white guys. Nick Dolfer would love to see the 49ers pick up some free agent offensive linemen to compete. Would also love the addition of Justin Simmons. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Now in the NFL draft, I liked what the Niners did in taking Dominic Pooney, who played very well as the left tackle for Kansas last year, did not give up a sack in more than 700 snaps, one of 3 left tackles to do that in college football. Shorter arms, shorter wingspan that falls under the requirements that the Niners usually have for offensive tackles, but he played well there. I think he's more of an interior offensive lineman. He even said after he got drafted, I think that I can play every single position. Athletic, strong, packs a punch, good scheme fit. I'm excited about him. And then Jarrett Kingston, I think, is more of an interior offensive lineman too. So I don't think they're going to go interior offensive lineman unless an injury happens in free agency. At offensive tackle, it just shocks me that the Niners didn't draft any competition for Colton McKivitz. And it doesn't surprise me for this regime, I guess I should say, because they've never really prioritized that spot. But it's been an issue the last couple of years. And I think they need to start taking offensive line a little bit seriously. The best offensive tackles out there, it is certainly slim pickings. Niner Dad, catch you on my lunch. Who's your favorite addition to the team? Draft-wise, Renardo Green. I like the attitude, the swagger, the confidence, and the physicality that he plays with. Malik Mustafa is up there. I've warmed up to Ricky Pearsall. Jacob Cowing is a fun player to watch because at 5'8", 5'9", 4'3", 4'4", 40 guy, he's very quick and is a mismatch problem. I'm excited to see how Kyle Shanahan can use him and Ricky Pearsall on the offense, especially with some of the gadget plays that they can include them in on. Dominic Pooney, you addressed offensive line. And then as far as UDFAs go, Cody Schrader, Drake Nugent. If they both make the 53-man roster, I won't be surprised. And under the radar acquisition in free agency, Isaac Yiadom, who analytically was excellent last year in coverage for the New Orleans Saints. He got him on a very affordable one-year contract. Our sponsor for today's mailbag is Prize Picks. Always making daily fantasy sports easy. You pick 2 or more players. You choose more or less on the projected stats, and you can win up to 25 times your money. Head to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS for a $100 deposit match. Some futures here with Prize Picks. Christian McCaffrey, more on the rushing total. Michael Pittman, more on the receiving total. And then Derrick Henry, more than 10.5 rushing touchdowns. Within the Prize Pick app, you can withdraw your winnings. You can win big money. Pick more, pick less. Pick Prize Picks today, the best, largest, go-to daily fantasy sports app in North America. We'll put that link down in the show notes and in the comment section of this video. Nathan Eds, a $2 super chat. Who is your favorite all-time practice squad player? As far as what he has become throughout the course of his career, a name does come to mind. Raheem Mostert couldn't stick on a roster, finally did, and has ended up having a lot of success. Who else? I mean, it's hard to really go deep into the memory bank and come up with some names. Man, you let me know. Drop me some names down in the comment section. Leon Sandcastle. Cowing has the best acceleration in this class. Hits 13 miles per hour and 5 yards. We will see him in the cheat play that Miami uses with Tyreek Hill when he gets a running start. He tried it with Debo, didn't work. Yeah, that running play that kind of is adopted in a way from old school Arena League football. Remember that? When they would allow their wide receivers to start like 10 yards behind the quarterback and then run straight up. Now, at the NFL level, it's not quite that. It's more the player is on the run, and then they jet up field after that pre-snap motion. I'd like to see that for Jacob Cowing. With Debo, he kind of struggles to track the long ball at times. If you really want to get nerdy about some of the Niners' picks here, and you want to do some like scouting analysis, and maybe this will help you in the future for how they evaluate players, they drafted a lot of players in this class who have this short area quickness. So they look at like 10-yard splits and 20-yard splits, and then the miles per hour within those splits on what they're reaching here, and they like those players with the short area burst. Another gauge of that is the broad jump and then the vertical jump. Ricky Pearsall, 42-inch vert. Jacob Cowing, short area quickness. Ricky Pearsall, short area quickness. They like these players and prioritize those players in the draft that are a little bit twitchy, short area. Maybe they don't necessarily run the best 40-yard dashes like Renardo Green, 4'5" guy, but it's not all about that at the NFL level. Are you going to be able to turn your hips? Do you have ball skills? Do you have instincts? Can you backpedal? Can you come in and out of your breaks with acceleration and deceleration? It's so much more than just a 40-yard dash, but I'm excited about Cowing for sure. Logan, are you worried about our roster after the 2024 season? I'd say the questions that I have are right tackle still, center, backup tight end, sack production opposite of Bosa, defensive tackle, corner. And it's not like those are pressing concerns where they're terrible in those areas. I'd say the starting talent, pretty good for San Francisco. Some of the depth in some areas, I think they could get a little bit better, but they still have arguably the best roster in the NFL. We're really nitpicking at that point. Joe G with the new profile picture. Chase, what do you think of UDFA defensive tackle Evan Anderson, listed at 6'5", 350 with Chris Kosarek's tutelage? He's going to be a monster in the middle. Yeah, his pre-draft numbers didn't list him as big as that, but he is big. He could certainly occupy a lot of real estate. He is a good first step. I thought this was pretty telling that the Niners gave him $280,000, $30K just to sign with the Niners as a UDFA. That's practice squad type of money. So clearly they like the potential, and you didn't address defensive line at all in the draft, nor did you address defensive tackle. So Evan Anderson could be one of your developmental defensive tackles on this team. Pate Ace, do you think Nick Sorensen can improve this defense from last year? Is this another coordinator from the Niners that will become a head coach in the making? It's going to take him at least, a couple of years, right, to become a head coach. I think we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves in talking about him as a head coach, but trust Kyle Shanahan as far as his coaching judgment goes. Robert Saleh worked. D'Amico Ryans worked. Mike McDaniel worked. He helped Sean McVay. He helped the LaFleurs. He helped Clint Kubiak get the OC job with the New Orleans Saints. He is a very talented coach when it comes to his eye for coaching ability. And I think that having Brandon Staley on the staff is a good security plan in case it doesn't work out, or if Brandon Staley needs to give him some guidance. But let's give credit to Nick Sorensen. He played in the league for a long time. He came up under Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, very good defensive mind in his day. He's earned this for sure. Logan, another one. This is Drake Jackson's last chance, right? I'm not wrong in saying this. I think Drake Jackson could be a cut candidate for San Francisco. Entering year 3, second-round pick. He has shown some ability so far in his NFL career, but either has been injured a lot or the coaching staff hasn't trusted him to the point where he was a healthy scratch down the stretch in 2022 and then got injured in 2023. And it's crazy because when he started off as a rookie, he had a couple of sacks in his first few games. Week 1 last year, he had 3 sacks against the Pittsburgh Steelers. You see the length. You see the athleticism. You see the ability. But there's been some chatter about him not taking the game all that seriously. That doesn't bode well because the Niners want players who love ball. Now, because he was a second-round pick, if you cut him post-June 1, there's going to be some money that you have to eat, but in fact, it's not that much because he was a second-round pick. $336,000 in dead money, $1.2 million in cap savings. He could be a cut candidate. In fact, that could be a bold prediction looking ahead to training camp if he doesn't bring it. He's on the hot seat. Be sure to subscribe, turn on your notifications. Therefore, when we go live, you will be notified. Thanks for watching. Always love these segments where we can chop it up with the faithful. We're up to $108 in Super Chats. Nathan Ed's thoughts on the 2025 draft class. Have you looked at any? Oh, man. I just got done after months of research for the 2024 class. So I'm catching my breath a little bit. I can't wait for it, but I'm catching my breath a little bit. Also, I'll do a lot of my stuff and research and watching college games coming up in the fall. But I'm always a fan of an all-too-early mock draft. It's always fun to look back at those as well. All right, last call to enter our raffle for our Niners bracelet here. Thanks to Tanya's Creations, longtime viewer of the show, who sent me a package of these bracelets. I already kept mine. I have a couple, in fact. I want to give this one away. Red bracelet, has the Niners colors, little fake diamonds there in the middle, and then what's cool, if you want it, you can have this Niners charm on it. We will send this to those of you who get in on the raffle. $10 enters you in. $20 gets you 10 raffle tickets. And we're going to spin the wheel. We're going to spin the wheel to determine the winner. So last call, let's give you a 2-minute warning here. 2-minute warning. Two-minute warning. Paid ace, Paulson Adebo a couple of years ago on the Saints. Yep, good player. Daniel Barry. Hey, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Last call for the bracelet. Who's it going to be? Nick Dolfer definitely has the most entries.
Right now, it's a 3-man race. We got Nick Dolfer, David Marcella, and Gump Wolf. All in the running. All in the running.
40 seconds left.
Clock's ticking.
To get in on the raffle. 40 seconds left. Brett A, what's up, Chase? Love the show. Appreciate you, man. Jesus, good point there about Evan Anderson. Yeah, you know, in taking, I guess I should say, in signing Leonard Floyd and Yetur Gross-Matos, they can be stand-up edge rushers. I don't think that Nick Sorensen is going to go to a 3-4, but yes, Evan Anderson could play some nose tackle, but he is good against the run. And the Niners don't have a defensive tackle who's like great against the run. All right, that's it for the bracelet raffle. So we're going to spin this wheel to see who wins it.
Let's do it.
Is Nick Dolfer going to get it for his daughter? He's got a lot. All right, let's spin that wheel. David Marcella. Now let's see if he's here. Let's see if he even wants it. He's an Eagles fan who just watches the show. Marcella, are you watching?
Let's see.
Do you want it, Marcella?
Marcella!
Johnny Unitas wore number 19 from Roland. Yeah, that's right. And Zeke did wear 21. Now he's back to 15. Marcella, do you want it? Is that a yes to that you're watching or you want it? Nick Dolfer, I have another one that I can send you. And you know what, Marcella? I think I might have a green one if you want that. I might have a green one, Marcella. If I do, I can send you that for the Eagles. But let me know. We'll wait for you in the comment section. Send it to Nick's daughter. All right. There we go. Dolfer. We'll send it to you and your daughter. How nice. David, 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 David,
David.
What a guy.
Wow.
What a guy. Nick, I'll email you, man.
What a guy.
All right, we're going to sign off. Good show. Everybody type DM David Marcella in the comments section. What a gentleman. What a gentleman and a legend. David Marcella in the chat from Nick and Richard and Alan. Awesome stuff. All right, be on the lookout. Coverage every day coming on the Niners Report. Aftermath of the draft. Still a lot to talk about. Rookie minicamp starts next week, the 8th or the 9th. We'll do some rookie minicamp winners and losers, baby. Thank you, David. You're the man. We're a fan of you. For Chip, I'm Chase. We'll catch you next time. Peace.